In this video, we're going to do a Q&A session about driving this car from Romania. But we're not going to do it here because it's too windy and exposed when it's going to rain. Well, the good news is the dream team has been reunited. Rich has rejoined me so we can talk a Q&A about the Romania trip. Because we haven't really gone into detail about what happened and how it happened, and people have asked lots of questions. And I have them written down because we like to do things old school. So, first question comes from Stephen Shipham, who was also asked by M6GOF. How hard is it to drive in the UK, with reference to the fact the Dacia is left-hand drive? Can't say I've really noticed any huge problems.
It's fine, but just careful with car park barrier ticket machines.
Yes, that can be an issue. Yeah, some consideration needed there, or a friendly passenger, or maybe even just shout at someone walking past and ask if they'll help. That can be problematic, but I haven't got any of those really in Wales, where I am. So
I've encountered one, unfortunately, at Mrs. C was there at the time.
That's all right then. So yeah, it's generally fine. If you're overtaking, it can be problematic because obviously you can't easily see around the vehicle, but the Dacia is not really for overtaking. If you're overtaking something, chances are it's going so slowly that you can see around it plenty before you get up close behind it. So if you stay a bit further back, you can see around, but you can see it on the inside in a way you can't in a right-hand drive car. So
and also
swings and roundabouts, you
get a lot of visibility over that side for looking over your shoulder.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds you how good older cars are. I mean, people were commenting on the Maxi, but the visibility is fantastic because the pillars are all small. So yes, it's a nice car to see out of. Second question, Multi-Ari asks, why would you want to own an old Dacia? I don't think Multi-Ari has understood what HubNet is all about. I mean, why wouldn't you want to own a Dacia? Some boxes need ticking, and I'm glad to have ticked that one.
It's quite nice to own a 60s car that doesn't seem to have too many rust issues.
Yes.
I mean, it was
built how long that'll last, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, it was built in 1990, but it's essentially a 60s car.
Yeah. It's kind of like my 2CV, which is a 40s car made in the 80s. So yeah, slightly odd, but you have cars that are considerably out of date for their time, but it means they've survived. So that's a good thing. Mega Wayne D asks, would you consider modifying with a better carb or ignition? Well, yes. Given it doesn't run at the moment because the Distributor has got some serious play in it, which I can show you in this clip. Yeah, so I forgot the Dacia in the last fleet date update, I'm sorry, but look, it's in Shropshire, it's not in Wales, and we have Distributor issues. It's been chewing away at the cap, or the rotor arm has been chewing away at the cap, and that might have something to do with the fact the shaft appears to do that, which is, I don't think that's good in anyone's book. So that might explain why we were having starting issues and why it idles so terribly badly, because it really doesn't like idling. So yeah, stage one is get a new cap, but yeah, we need to find out why that's doing that as well. Problematic. Yeah, we definitely need to sort something out on the Distributor front, and carburetor is still running far too rich, so we need to sort something out there. Lots of people telling us to fit twin choke Webers, which would need a different manifold, but could be quite entertaining, I think.
Yeah, so, if anyone's got a Gordini manifold kicking around,
let us know in the comments below. Question 4, how did you get a car from Romania when you weren't a resident? And couldn't you drive in the UK for 6 months on the plates? No, is the simple answer, but I don't really understand what happened paperwork wise at the event. We left all that to Claudio, who we bought the car off, and he said this will all be fine, gave us paperwork which included a contract of the sale, and that was apparently okay. We had the Romanian MOT, Romanian insurance, which Claudio arranged, and everywhere we got stopped, and we got stopped plenty. Those documents got looked at a lot. Yeah, it was all fine.
I mean, admittedly, everyone that looked at them wasn't Romanian.
This is true, so they probably didn't understand them, but yeah, maybe we just got away with it, I don't know. What was the second half of that? Couldn't you keep the plates for 6 months? No. If you drive to the UK from Romania and you're Romanian, you can drive your car for up to 6 months. that's allowed. But if you're a UK resident, you're not allowed to drive a car with foreign plates. Technically, we probably shouldn't even have driven it from the ferry port, but shh, don't tell anyone. All be fine. I think we got away with it. Question 5 from Simone, who's I know is a fan of the channel. Hello, Simone. What is the 0 to 60 time? I can't say we ever really tested that, and the entire way back it was full of stuff, but I doubt it's much less than 20 seconds at a rough guess.
It's okay, but we'll maybe give it a try some point.
Yeah, it doesn't actually run at the moment, but we'll try and get it running, because I'm meant to be at Dacia Fest next weekend in it, and yeah, I would very much like to be there in the Dacia, so if I get a chance I'll do a 0 to 60 test, hopefully. Gary Edwards asks how easy it would be to convert to right-hand drive, and I have to say I've no idea. I don't think I'd really want to, so I've not thought about it too much. But
yeah, I don't know what they did with the Dacia Denims that were over here.
Yeah, I mean, very few right-hand drive Dacias were sold here as denims in the early 80s.
I suppose we could find a rotten Renault 12, but the left-hand drive doesn't bother me.
No, it's part of that car's charm. It would be a shame to convert it, I think. Question 7, Super Fifth Gear, another big fan of the channel. Hello. Was there much to registering the car? No, it's amazingly easy. When we first got back, I had to do what's called a NOVA declaration, which declares that the car has been bought in the EU, it has been bought to the UK, that there is no VAT to pay, no VAT, because it's a European import. Now that might all change next year with Brexit. That's kind of one of the reasons we did this trip when we did, is it was so easy. No visas, no green cards, absolute piece of cake. Yeah, we had to do that. Then I had to fill in a really complicated form, where you fill in about 10% of this really complicated form, because it's a form for all occasions. And I did that, and I sent it off with the Romanian MOT. And because that MOT had been passed after 20th of May this year by 4 days, talk about fluky, that MOT was accepted to register the car in the UK. That's a change that came in on the 20th of May. So yeah, remarkably easy. I just sent all that off, and then I got a logbook through the post, and that meant I could get number plates, which some folk have noticed are the correct font for the year of vehicle. I can't disclose where those plates came from, because it's illegal to supply number plates in that font, the font the car would have worn if it was sold new in 1990. It annoys me. I'm glad some of you noticed, so thank you. Is insurance more expensive being left-hand drive, asks Anthony Howell. No, Haggerty insured a Dacia at the moment, and Haggerty also insured the Invacar, and I think they're within a few quid of each other. It's 100 and something pounds, and Rich is now insured on both the Invacar and the Dacia.
Terrifying.
Yeah, well, it's alright, the Invacar's broken at the moment, so don't worry.
But so's the Dacia, so...
Yeah, so there you go, you're insured on 2 broken cars, you're so lucky.
Well, 3 hubbed up broken cars.
Right, here comes the most difficult question of all of these, from Ahmed Meshkin, who I think lives in Bosnia. Could you describe each Balkan country in one word? Let's start with Serbia. Lush.
It was unexpectedly nice, wasn't it? I don't know.
That's loads of words.
Yeah.
But yes, it was lush. It was unexpectedly nice. It was just beautiful. I mean, we did happen to land in one of the prettiest bits. So we crossed the border from Romania and ended up in the hills, lots of rivers, trees, forests. Wonderful. I mean, sure enough, when we got near Belgrade, it wasn't quite so attractive. It was just another big town. But yeah, Serbia was good. Bosnia, the first word that springs to mind is hassle, just because we did feel hassled when we were there. It was busier than Serbia, and of course we got various trouble with the police. These kids don't seem to be taking photos of our Rover, only the Porsche next to it. That's a bit of a shame. So that was Bosnia. Have you got a word for Bosnia?
The bits we saw were very pretty.
Yes, that's true. So pretty, there we go. That's fair. We did see some nice parts of Bosnia. Croatia?
It was a little bit disappointing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Because
it was.
I think
We didn't see the best of Croatia.
I think
Modern is a word I'd use. It looked like there'd been considerable investment in places. There was still lots of war-torn buildings and bullet holes and stuff, which
when that was when we were out of the way, because we tried to get off the main road, and because the main road was boring. And too fast.
Yeah.
And so we headed along a road which on the map looked like a main road parallel, except it was 30 limit through a village.
Yeah, 30 miles an hour, so 50 kilometres an hour, all the way through.
And it was just linear development for mile after mile after mile.
Yeah.
Which was a bit of a shame. We planned for Croatia to be the pretty bit.
But we got it wrong. Which isn't Croatia's fault. I know, I've seen photos of lovely parts of Croatia, so we just were a bit unlucky.
Well, we kind of went across the top where we meant to come up the coast.
Well, we kind of went straight through the middle, so we didn't do the mountains to the north, and we didn't do the beautiful coast to the south. So, yeah, if you go to Croatia, don't bother with the middle bit. There's not a lot there. And that leaves Slovenia.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. A truly lovely place. It was just an absolute joy. We got stopped by the police there as well, but they were very friendly and ended up giving us a load of tourist information, which was unexpected. So I'd use the word unexpected. I didn't expect Slovenia to be as wonderful as it was. And there we go. That is the end of the Balkans. Then we went to Italy, and we didn't like Italy at all. Probably not Italy's fault. We probably didn't see the best of Italy either. And there was that awful hotel. Ugh. Which is in, if you go to the road trip, look for the Italy bit. There's me having a complete meltdown in the Dacia at night because it was too hot. JKO01A asks, how much fuel did you use in total and what was the total cost? Well, I can tell you now, we don't want to think about the total cost. So, but I've estimated it because we haven't added up the bills at all. But I reckon over, what was it? It was 4,000 kilometres. I reckon at 35 mpg, we probably used 71 gallons of fuel, which is 324 litres. I mean, it's probably about right, but
probably, yeah, we were.
The few times we did do an mpg calculation, it was coming out more like 40, so it could be a fair bit less. So, surprisingly economical when running. Right, GTI 505, the man who let me drive his gorgeous Talbot Tagora, thank you very much for that, asks, are cars free tax after a certain age in the UK? Yes, and unfortunately the Dacia isn't old enough. I know GTI 505 lives in the Netherlands, where they had a 25-year rule on free tax, and then changed it to 40, which affected a lot of cars, and it would have affected the Dacia, which is 28 years old. But road tax in the UK isn't too expensive. I think I paid, what was it?
145, is it?
Yeah, I think it's 145 for the year. It's in the smaller tax group, so it's in the same tax class as the 2CV, because they've got a limit at 1.5 litres, or 1550cc, I think it is.
Can't remember.
Yeah, so it ends up in a cheaper tax class, so that's nice. Savings. The downside is when you import it, you have to buy 6 months tax for it, and that's slightly irritating. You can't do a monthly direct debit payment. But yeah, road tax much cheaper than the Netherlands. I do feel sorry for you in the Netherlands. It's very expensive. Phil Millership asks about import scenarios. I mean, we've covered it a bit, talking about what we had to do to import the Dacia, and he wants to drive it all the way back, and he's got the same problem that we have, but it's not technically legal to drive in the UK. But I know lots of people who do it, and I think basically you just hope not to get stopped. There's insurance companies who are perfectly happy to insure you on the VIN number, which is what we did, so you don't, you know, you're covered really. But don't blame us if you get arrested. You'd be very unlucky.
My cousin ran a French 305 for ages, but with his missus is French.
Ah, well, that's 5 or 6 months. But yes. Question 13, unlucky for some. Would you consider importing another car? Says Gareth Thompson, or asks Gareth Thompson. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was nothing on that trip that made us think, oh, this is a terrible idea, we'll never do it again. It was, yeah, huge fun. And Lots of people walking around us. There's a Jaguar XK150 Roadster next to us. Quite rare in the UK. I think they only made 73 in right-hand drive form, but that's a left hooker, I think.
Yeah.
Might even be Italian spec with those clear indicators. Stop being geeky about posh cars. 14 is Gary Tolbert asking for a review of the cameras. Well, there's the Oppo F1S phone that I'm talking to you on now. That was fine. Works well. Occasionally gets a bit too dark because the center is aimed at sort of that rear window. Pointing at it doesn't... Yeah, there we go. And so we sometimes get a bit dark, but it's fine. It's quick to record. Very impressed with my Oppo F1S. The Olfi Action Cam, which we use for some footage, very good footage, but we had issues with the sound, which I know a lot of you commented on. Really high-pitched noise. All you young folk who've still got decent hearing, I can't hear it.
Was that the one we lost a lot of footage on?
No, I'm getting to that. That was the Nextbase Duo HD dash cam, and we were hitting the action button every time something interesting happened, in the hope that it would record the footage. And unfortunately it started overwriting what should have been protected files. So the only footage you've got of us almost dying when a truck came around a bend on our side of the road, it was just the footage shooting back at us on the action cam of us just going, ah! You didn't actually see what was looming right in front of us. That was a scary moment.
That was quite scary. Yeah. That was just coming into Bosnia, wasn't it?
Just
coming out of Serbia.
Yeah, it was before we left Serbia, I think.
Yeah, because there was the Renault 4 at the side of the road.
Yeah, and we're going, ooh, that's nice. And then someone almost drove into us at that point as well. So, yeah, very exciting. So, yeah, the Oppo F1S is definitely the camera of the trip. The screen's smashed. It's in a terrible state, but it keeps working. Thank you, Oppo. And that is it. That is the end of questions on the Dacia road trip. But yeah, I mean, we've had some time to reflect on it, and yeah, thinking back, I just enjoy it more and more. I'm so glad we did it.
Yeah.
There were meant to be a group of 6 of us. We were all meant to go and all buy individual cars, but I'm so glad it panned out the way it did in the end.
It was so much better having 2 people to drive.
Yeah. So you're sharing the experiences, you're sharing the driving. So once you're completely knackered, you just hand over. It was good. Our route back was not very logical, and if I can, I'll tack a bit on this where I'll go over a map. Now I found my Europe map, which we didn't take with us. Maybe I'll try and show you, because our route was bizarre. But yeah, we didn't want to go through Austria and Germany because we thought they'd be too officious and we'd get stopped by the police. So we went through lots of other countries and got stopped by the police there instead. But hey, we were worried about how roadworthy the Dacia was, but I think actually it was probably all right.
Yeah, there weren't many things that it failed the UK pre-MOT on.
Yeah, I did get a pre-MOT done on the Dacia just to see if there was anything serious it needed, and yeah, thankfully it didn't. Wheel bearings need sorting out, headlamps still need sorting out, and probably something for the rear seat belts.
Yeah, there's a bit of a clonk, possibly an engine mount or something.
Yeah.
Although it's maybe something to do with the drive shafts.
Sorry, there's some very noisy motorbikes going up Shelsley Walsh. We're at Shelsley Walsh, enjoying classic nostalgia. There'll be a video on that as well. And it's very noisy and very slow.
That might be the Ducati SS50.
Right. I don't know what he's on about. I don't know anything about motorbikes. So when people start talking about motorbikes, I know how people feel when I start talking about cars. And they're just looking at me going, what? Who needs to know that stuff? But there you go. Anyway, that's the end of the Q&A session. Thank you if you asked a question. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe before you go. There will be more on the Mighty Dacia at some point, I'm sure. And we may see you again in a future video. Don't forget you can buy t-shirts at hubnut.org. Farewell. Well, my map is slightly out of date, but as I said, I'll try and trace our route roughly from where are we? Bucharest, all the way back. So we flew into Sofia. First of all, you may remember that was because we were originally going to buy a car in Bulgaria, but we got a bus to Bucharest. We picked up our car about here and then drove back to Bucharest, and then we set off and we drove down to Serbia. Oh, we did that up here somewhere. on that border. We didn't go as far north as Timisoara. Came through here, then into Bosnia. We wanted to come down to Sarajevo, but then we hit trouble and we raced back up to Croatia instead. Came through the middle, missing all the pretty bits, and stayed in Zagreb one night. From Zagreb, then went pretty much straight through the middle of Slovenia, which was all lovely, via Ljubljana. Didn't even stop there, we just skirted the capital city. Came into Italy, came down a bit towards Venice, and then went across past Milan, Turin, because we didn't want to go through Switzerland or Germany or any of these places up here. And then we crossed into France and came shooting up this way and up to Le Havre, where we got the boat, and then back. So yeah, that was kind of our route, ducking down around the middle bit and just skirting round. On that curvature, it actually looks more sensible than I think it was. The strangest bit was when we were driving towards Venice, because we were up here somewhere at that point. Venice didn't seem like the logical place to go, but nonetheless, maybe it looks better on this map, because I'm sure at some point we were driving due south going, what are we doing?